In this episode, we go deep, exploring toxic relationships, body confidence, and some truly terrifying stories from her past.
Majority of the relationships that I have been in have been emotional abuse, sometimes physical abuse, and there's been moments where I have been scared for my life. I think by me sharing my story, it's just going to help inspire other women to realize that you can have it all.
Sharnie Louise, coach, pro athlete, and online fitness sensation for women who yearn to love the skin they're in.
This is exactly where I need to be, because everything that happened to me in my past led me to this moment to help women that have been through the same thing.
She shares openly how she's gone from feeling lost and unlovable through to creating her ideal life with her dream man.
I've never had more people say to me, I've never seen you so happy in your life as I do now, Shan. Like, you look truly so happy. And it's true.
If you've ever felt like maybe what you yearn for might have passed you by, this episode will bring hope, insight, and hard truths on how we can all shape our own destiny. Sharnie Louise Fitness.
Hello, Anthony.
Very good to have you here. Welcome to the A Players podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Here in your home,
In
Bali.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very, very cool.
Yeah.
How's
It's been a long
things?
time coming.
It has. It has. Glad I could make it.
Yeah.
How's things, my friend?
Good. Really good.
Yeah.
Living the Bali life, working online, training, just honestly living my perfect day.
Wow. Very good. Yeah, I was going to say, sounds like something I've heard before.
Yes, I know.
But-
Literally, to a T.
We'll get into that shortly. Before we do, though, for the listeners and for the people watching, who are you? What are you about? What is it that makes you an A player? Give us the,
So my name is Sharnie, and I have an online fitness business. So I'm an online coach for Sharnie Louise Fitness, and I would call myself a PT and online coach. So I've only recently transitioned online within 12 months when I moved to Bali, well, just over 12 months. And yeah, I'm a big advocate for helping women. I guess it's really cliche, and all fitness coaches do say it, is empowering women to become the best version of themselves and loving the skin they're in, but truly loving the skin they're in. And it's not so much just about training and nutrition to me. It's about, giving women what I have got from training and fitness and everything that it's brought to me in my life. So I want that for everybody that I meet.
Amazing. I love that. And I know you say that's cliche, but ultimately that is what people want.
Yeah.
And I know there's a little bit more under the surface there. I know there's deeper whys, which we're super keen to get into.
Yeah.
You say what health and fitness and nutrition has brought you. What has fitness and nutrition brought you? What's your kind of history with that?
Yeah. So I feel like, it completely changed my life. It was what I turned to when I had some really tough moments in my life. Like I'd be at the gym and that would be my complete outlet. I started training when I was like in my early teens, but you wouldn't really call it like training. It was going to the gym on the cross trainer or like doing abs. That was kind of like what we did, right? But then when I moved to Brisbane, I started training a little more and I did like fitness competing and stuff like that. And that's what truly led me to, I guess, becoming a personal trainer and wanting to study. I kind of
making a career of it.
Exactly. Yeah. It wasn't like I lived in Rockhampton, a small country town, and I moved to Brisbane to study uni. I wanted to do events and marketing, and I did like a full university course, and I was in my dream job. Like I was working in events and, running events, and that's what I wanted to do after watching The Hills. Made that come true. It's so funny. Like I was thinking about it and reflecting. I'm like, what made me want to do events? And I was like, it was definitely The Hills, like watching that show. And I remember we came to Brisbane for a school trip in high school, and like me and my friends, we all did study of religion because we could get this trip to Brisbane. That was like part of the
deal
subject.
to get you to study. Yeah, wow.
And he said, then my teacher said to me while we were in Brisbane, he's like, now what are your goals in life, Sharnie? And what I said, like the three things, I was like, I want to move to the city, I want to wear heels to work, and I want to work in events. And I was like, he just like rolled his eyes at me, but I actually ended up doing that. But it was funny because I was in this job that was where I wanted to be, right? And it wasn't enough. There was like something missing. I was like, it's not really fulfilling. And so I kept seeking more and more and trying different things. So
wow. Okay, tell me about that. So you've set this goal, via the religion teacher.
Yeah. Said it in passing anyways. He asked me. Yeah, that was like my goal to get to Brisbane.
Yeah, got it. Achieved it in Brisbane, got the job, but you said there was something missing and things were never enough. Tell me a little bit more about that. What's like under the surface there?
Well, I would be, I mean, I don't know, I was like running the events and, you know, people were having a great time and that was my job, right? To meet with these people and celebrate amazing times in their life, whether it be weddings or birthdays and stuff like that. But I don't know, I would go home and like every single day I would be at the gym after work, and that would be like my favorite part of the day, obviously after working. And yeah, I don't know, it was just like a feeling I had. I was like, this isn't enough. That was a feeling.
This job isn't enough.
Yeah,
I'm not perhaps in alignment, or perhaps this isn't what's right for me.
Yeah, definitely. That would be in alignment. I didn't know what that meant at the time. I just knew it was a feeling that felt like it wasn't right. You know what I mean? Like the gut feeling.
Amazing. Like I absolutely love that. And you're speaking to something that I think a lot of people, and we're going deeper quicker than I thought, but you're speaking to something a lot of people I know experience. So you're saying, I had this dream, but it just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
Tell me, like, I know it's difficult to put into words, but can you explain that? How would that show up? How would you know it didn't feel right? Like, how does that present?
I don't know, maybe it also came from self, because I wasn't in the best position. You know what I mean? Like at that point I had an eating disorder that nobody knew about and stuff like that. So like I was going to work and doing all this stuff and keeping really busy and going to gym. I don't know. How do you explain being in alignment? You just know, I don't know. You don't feel whole. There's something missing. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah.
Totally. It is difficult to explain. I kind of wanted to take on it, and it does. It's like I kind of talk to like these inner knowings or inner whispers, right? Your head might tell you everything's perfect, or on paper it looks good. And I know that's a big part of your story, right? Yeah. Like things appearing to be great. However, there's like just this deep down knowing inside that when I'm quiet or I'm still with myself, I just know, and I just get a sense that this isn't right, or I'm here for more. I'm meant to be doing, having, experiencing more. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you touched on a couple of things there. The health and fitness was a bit of an outlet because tough stuff was going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about.
Was it? Yeah, it was. Yeah. I was probably just in relationships, or you wouldn't really call it relationships, things or situationships, people call it these days, I think. Yeah, things like that. I guess the relationships weren't good. My relationship with myself was awful.
Tell me about that.
I was horrible. That was before I had learned what I have now with like health and fitness and nutrition and how to eat and train to get the body that you want, right? Because what I was doing was probably training twice a day if I had eaten something that I thought I shouldn't have eaten. So I was training, I was doing lots of cardio, and it was training out of punishment. So I would be trying to undereat after, reading in the health magazines what I should be eating, no carbs, things like that. So like a typical day of going to work, and I was working from like 6 a.m. in the morning, running the events on my feet all the time, obviously meeting with people. And finishing at like 6 p.m. There's a full day, and I literally would pack to work like an egg and some spinach leaves. That would be my breakfast. Not have sauces and things like that, because I thought I wasn't allowed to have that. And then it would result by like middle of the day, 3 p.m. because it was an event place we worked at. There was food around. I would eat like probably 5 or 6 muffins, feel sick, and then sometimes at the workplace go and make myself be sick, which was crazy. And then I'd do it at home, and that's where that habit started.
Thank you for sharing. That's big.
Yeah.
What was, and not everyone can necessarily relate to like eating disorder, but I think people can often relate to what's underneath that. Like when you say I wasn't allowed, I had to, starve myself, so to speak. Yeah. What were you trying to achieve?
Probably the body of my dreams, because I thought if I had a certain body with abs and skinny legs and whatnot at that point, because skinny was what people were looking to achieve, then I would be happy. It was always like to be happy, right? But now obviously through everything I've learned, it was probably like thinking you're going to attract your partner, stuff like that. I don't know. But it was definitely like, once I have X, I will be happy.
So if I look a certain way, then I'll be happier. Then I'll, be more attractive to probably, other people. And then I'll be able to feel lovable, whatever it might be. Yeah? Yeah. Okay.
Crazy. Hey, it's wild. But so many people, I think so many people still experience that and are struggling now. Like I work with so many women, and even when I was in the gyms, like you'd meet with them and you'd chat about their story, and how many women I met that I didn't know that were also struggling with what I had in the past. And so I was like, it was probably during those moments where I was like, this is exactly where I need to be, because everything that happened to me in my past led me to this moment to help women that have been through the same thing.
I love that. I know before we started recording, you said, hey, it was actually really beautiful, but you said, hey, I want this to touch those 2 women that have reached out to me recently who are going through, difficult stuff in their relationships, perhaps abusive relationships. And you're like, I'd love to be able to kind of inspire them or reach out to them and help them.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Yeah. I think by me sharing my story, it's just going to help inspire other women to realize that you can have it all. You know what I mean? Just because you are, I don't know, in a job per se, because that's what we're speaking about, or in a relationship or in a marriage, doesn't mean you have to stay if it's not right for you. You know what I mean? So I guess that's what it's about.
So it's about them. So you want women to love the skin they're in, to feel comfy in the skin they're in. So therefore they're going to love themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they love themselves enough, then they're able to get out of perhaps situations or relationships or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Choices, decisions, lifestyles that aren't serving them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because I feel like that's as soon as I don't know, did this inner work journey and found myself, and it was through training and nutrition and all of that, that's when I could then make those decisions for myself. That changed my life.
Yeah.
And allow me to have and live the best life that I have right now.
Yeah. Awesome. I know you're quite accomplished in the fitness space, like as far as, competing in fitness competitions and whatnot. Tell us a little bit about that journey. What was it that kind of sparked that? What was that like?
Yeah. So it was when I was still in the corporate world. I had been training for a little bit. I just got into weight training and I wanted to do a fitness comp. I just had, again, it was like a calling. How crazy is that? It's something that I was like, I just have to do this. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And so many people told me, don't do it. It's so unhealthy. Oh, you don't need to do that. It's, and I was like, well, no. I was like really stubborn in my thoughts towards it. I was like, no, I really want to do this. And I did it. And that's probably where a lot of things changed for me. Like I was so nervous to go into a gym, and I had a coach, I had a training up on my phone that I had to follow. And I'll never forget this moment. It was Good Life Chermside. And I went into the gym and I saw the program I had to do, looked around the gym, saw all the gym bros in the gym. And I was like, I'm going to be the only girl in it. Oh my gosh. And all the thoughts went through my head that women still experience now. Am I going to be doing the right movements? Are they going to be looking at me? Are they going to be laughing at me? Oh my gosh, everyone's, and I was just like, I have no choice. I've like signed up to do this fitness comp. You're going to do every exercise on this. I had my headphones on, my cap on, and I went in. I was like probably shaking, like doing lateral raises in the mirror next to like all these buff guys. And then it was those moments where I kept pushing. This fitness comp led me to, I guess, then get into personal training and things like that. So the comps were, I did ICN. So I competed in ICN in like the fitness model and sports model. I did really well. I won like most of my categories.
Which is a really difficult thing to do. Like for anyone that doesn't understand that world or that game, like sometimes you can be competing against, tens and tens of other.
It was big,
women who all look fantastic and have worked really hard to get there. That's super impressive to win or place most of your shows.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it was like the first year of competing, I became an ICN pro.
Yep.
And I will never forget this moment. I got off stage and I went back to my coach and my friends, and then like they're like, awesome work, Sharnie, thanks. And like, congrats. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then inside I was like, I shouldn't have won that. I didn't deserve to win that. I thought other girls should have won, and I still didn't feel good enough, even though I won and got my pro card, which is wild.
Wow. Wow.
Crazy.
And tell me about that voice.
It was loud.
Yep.
I don't know. I honestly, I don't think I even really celebrated. I don't think I even shared much on social media. I wasn't obviously a coach or personal trainer at the time, and a lot of people like that would be really great for business, right?
Totally.
I didn't want to share about it at all. I think I did maybe one post and it was like, I want my pro card, woo, like, or not even that. And then I just stopped posting about it. I was like, oh, I don't feel like I deserved it, so I just didn't really share much about it. So
wow,
wild.
That's hectic.
And then from there, I decided to start studying personal training and like do my course. And I was in a different job other than the Regatta Hotel. I'd gone and worked for a not-for-profit, and I was kind of like loving it because I thought, I'm totally just going a million miles an hour in many different directions. But you know how I was saying at the Regatta Hotel, it wasn't enough. I thought, okay, I need to do a job that's super fulfilling. So went and worked for a not-for-profit organization, which is like cancer
in events
research.
and marketing.
Well, similar space. But and it was like, helping people. This is going to be super fulfilling. And again, it like wasn't enough. So like whilst I was working there, I'd been studying on the side and doing my personal training course. And so then that's what then eventually led me into quitting that job and going headfirst into personal training.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I often find when people find their purpose, right, it's often, well, it's always in the service of something greater than themselves, right? So there's like that little knowing inside where it's like, oh, I want to help people or contribute to the greater good in some way that I just can't really put my finger on.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing there is you're talking to that, like you've got your kind of goal job in events and marketing, and then you're like, it's not really as meaningful as it could be. Let's go help people and not for profit. And then you're like, well, better, but good. Still not there.
Yeah.
And so now you do the, the fitness thing, personal training, online coaching, and, can be of service there.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? I was like, at that point, there was not really podcasts around. So I'd be listening to YouTube, Tony Robbins on repeat. And so to the point where I'd repeat. I'd know like, yes, everybody chant. And I'd be able to chant and say exactly what it was.
Wow.
And remember,
I didn't know that.
6
I didn't
human
know
needs.
that. Yeah, I do know the 6 human needs.
And the last one is like, of service, right? Acts of service and helping people. And I was like, and it was, that was it. Yeah. Contribution. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, and I kind of then was like, cool. And just, I don't know, not subconsciously, but maybe that was the reason why. I think it is like listening to those.
Totally. It's
very, talks changed my life. Crazy.
It's totally natural, right? Like it's how we're wired. We feel best when we're giving back and helping others.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Cool. And so you're still speaking very humbly. Like you say, personal trainer and online coach and whatever, but you're actually, in people that I speak to all the time, I know you're a massive inspiration. I know you inspire many, many women, every day just with the life that you have.
Yeah.
I also know because, having the benefit of knowing you the way I do and working together, it wasn't always like that.
No, it wasn't.
Like, even if we go back a step, and this is funny, and I was going to say when we first met, when you first reached out to us, when we actually first met, I don't know if you remember, when we actually first met, we were training at the same gym. You were talking about being scared in the gym.
Yeah.
And I think I came and basically asked you out. And
I don't know if I remember. I don't know. But it would have been like, I got told so much when I was training at that gym. Oh, Sharnie's a bitch. I used to see you give me death stares. And I'm like, I was nervous. I didn't want to see anybody. I was like always like this in the gym. Crazy.
Well, you were pretty pleasant to me. You were very, very pleasant to me.
I?
Yeah. You were kind. You gave me your phone number, and then you ended up brushing me because I think I.
That's so funny. Oh my God. I can't remember that shit. That's funny.
Yeah. And then I remember someone who introduced us for the second time. I'm very glad that didn't end up going anywhere.
Yeah.
But because for the second time when you reached out, a client of ours that had introduced you to us shared a little bit about that.
Isn't it funny like how paths are supposed to meet at that certain time? You know what I mean? Like I was supposed to meet you then because you were going to change my life. Crazy.
So cool. Yeah. And it wasn't supposed to work out the time before.
Yeah.
Much prefer you as a friend.
Yeah.
And so tell me, what was life like then? Because even then, like you still, life looked great.
So let's go before, not even when I reached out to you, but moments before. I think it would have been maybe like a few months before I'd reached out to you. I don't even know how long it was. Anyways, so I was living in Brisbane, working at a gym. I was engaged, had my friends around me. Business was going amazingly and things were going well. And so like I think at that point I was just working because I didn't want to feel anything. I don't think I'd felt the feelings forever. You know what I mean? I think I was like masking it deep down. Like obviously things were going on and all the rest of it. And then we were working at the gym together. Let's just say that. Okay. So we're working at the same gym together. Some stuff went down. I truly don't know actually what went down, but I know enough to know that that was it. It wasn't for me. You know what I mean? So
the relationship, you mean, or what wasn't for you?
The relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Things had happened and there was so many different things being said about it did happen. It didn't. You're overreacting, rah. But I knew deep down inside. I was literally at home on a Friday night one night and I literally got this like stabbing feeling in my stomach after I saw something on Instagram, and then I think I just knew. Some other things happened and from then on I just ended the relationship and there was no going back. I don't think, you know how like in my life I've had boyfriends when I was younger and you break up with them and then like you like keep texting them and then you see him and all the rest of it. I've never had a breakup as I have with this one where it was like, that's it, done. Not even going to talk. I don't even want to hear what you have to say. Like I was kind of like cut. And then I just moved into a different apartment and kept working at the same gym. And then I dove completely headfirst into work. Everybody would message me and like, oh, I hope you're okay, Sean, all the rest of it. And at the start, I didn't tell any of my clients because I didn't want it to affect work at all. I didn't want the owners of the gym. I didn't want to lose my job either because I thought it would be a bit having two people
controversial.
Yeah, working at the same gym with everything that went on. So I just remember calling the owners and just saying, just so you know, this happened, but I'm okay. Everything's okay. And business will go on. You won't even notice it. I'll make sure that, I'm on with my clients, and I just try to give them and it
positive
100%
spin.
was. And I did. And I never skipped a beat, and it was all about the clients. And I just gave myself to my clients.
Wow.
I was like, let's not worry about how you're feeling. And that was actually what got me through.
Yep.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
Anyways, I kept, eventually my clients found out when this particular client found out that recommended I contact you, she cried because she was the one telling me, oh, your relationship is perfect. It gives me hope. And then when she found out, she was like in tears, very upset for me and couldn't believe it. And she just kept saying, you need to call Anthony. You need to do inner work. And I was like, I was like, yeah. And then eventually after one session, I remember she's like, I'm going to call you and I'm going to say, you need to call him right now. So she texted me, she called me, you need to call him now. And so I just called you. Yeah. And then that's when we chatted for the first time. I was like super skeptical. I was like, But I always get like vibes and feelings. So I was like, remember, we had the chat over the phone and I still wasn't sure I wanted to do it. And then I met with you in person and straight away got a good feeling. And I was like, this is it. I need to do it. So I just went all in.
Amazing. Wow. Okay.
Wild. That was a lot.
Wild. That was a lot. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. And so you talked about stuff going on behind the scenes and obviously you're being really respectful of people, which is beautiful. There's stuff going on behind the scenes which led to you immediately ceasing and ending the relationship because it was just completely unacceptable for you. Yeah. Okay. Is there a bit of a history of that?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yes, from like when I was 15, my first boyfriend from when I was 15. My memory is not the best.
Sure.
I can't really remember.
We don't need to name names or anything, but just generally speaking.
Yeah, every relationship I feel like has been that way. You know what I mean?
What's
like
that way
some sort of like unfaithful behavior and then me staying because it's going to change. You know what I mean? And then it not changing. And then every time, now I've learned about it, every time I abandon myself and stay with that person, I lose a sense of self. So in every relationship I've ever been with, I could have started out as whole Sharnie, bubbly, happy and da-da-da. And then piece by piece, I got like ripped apart, I feel like. And then to the point where it was like, then you have to leave and then repay yourself again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So when you say piece by piece, I would abandon myself.
Yeah.
So I can start the relationship and feel kind of whole.
Yeah.
All right. So you go into it and what I'm assuming you're saying is this is amazing, this is great, whatever.
Yeah.
And then piece by piece you would lose yourself. What does that actually look like? What are the things you would be doing or allowing or accepting? Like what would
accepting
happen?
behaviors that are not morally right to me or forgiving people when I probably shouldn't. And just, I don't know, like just the usual stuff, right? Someone cheats on you, you stay with them. It's going to get better. Someone lies to you, you forgive them. Lies again, forgive them. Find out different things, choose to not bring it up because it's easier just to keep going along with the way it was. You know what I mean? It was like I didn't want to ever like stir the pot and get to that uncomfortable state of having to go through the breakup, having to go through all of that stuff. So I would just stay because it was easier and I was comfortable.
Yeah, wow. And so it would look great from the outside.
Always,
people would say your relationship's awesome, you're amazing.
Yeah.
But inside you were feeling what?
Worthless and just like shit, really. And always comparing myself. Like it got so bad with some of these relationships. It could well and truly make me want to freaking cry. Like with certain things that you would accept and then things would trigger me in public. I would see a girl that looked like a girl that they would have gone for or talked to or whatever the hell and then just be comparing myself. And that's so wrong. You know what I mean? Like I would always compare myself to these women that I thought were better looking than me or like whatever you think, Crazy.
Totally. It's so interesting how the mind and body does that, right? Like what I know to be true, what I think you're explaining is like we have many events, some events in our life, some of us many, where the emotional difficulty of those moments are so painful that we say, okay, I never, ever want to feel this way again. So like you're saying, find out some news, a partner at some point cheated on you and you just feel terrified or horrible, abandoned, go, I never want to feel this way again. And so it like seeds are kind of, I guess I don't like throwing around the trauma word because I think it's really overused, but it kind of seeds a little bit of a micro trauma, and you're like, okay. And so then every time, like you're saying, you see someone who might look like someone, or it can be a smell, it can be a sound, it can be a suburb in some instances. I know in my own life, there's like really weird little triggers that, trigger that thing inside of me. And then it's like, whoa, can, take you back to a place or an emotion or experience that you don't want to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you like when that was happening pre-inner work? What were you doing when that stuff came up?
Training.
Yeah.
I don't know, just keeping busy.
Pushing it down, avoiding it,
absolutely. I never would feel my feelings before I did inner work, ever. And it would be a joke within my family. And I learned that skill at a young age because we'd have like sometimes family meetings and all the family would be crying and they'd say, Sharnie, you need to speak now. No. Even though I would be feeling sick and I want to cry and it's coming up, no. I wouldn't say anything. I would just keep a straight face and not let these things bother me.
Why?
What? I don't know, because I didn't want to be vulnerable or just feel feelings, right? I was scared to feel any feelings, which is just wild.
Powerful position, right? You feel in control if you don't speak. No, not doing it. I don't want to face that thing. Keep a lid on it.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah, awful. Wow. Man, that's really intense.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
That's all right.
And I think really important to share with listeners that, hey, sometimes you do, and I hear this a lot with women particularly, sometimes you do know, and oftentimes women do know when things aren't right, and you can have that, women's intuition or whatever you want to call it, where it's just like things aren't right here, something's off.
Yeah.
And then if you're finding yourself like in that anxious or running or pushing things down or avoidant state, it's like, what you need to do or ideally is actually look at the thing that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah. Women definitely know, don't they?
They
that
do.
Literally brought me back to like a gym moment where like before all that stuff went down with the engagement breakup, and before anything had happened, walked past me in the gym, got a feeling. I was like, something feels so odd. Something I can't put my finger on. I was like, just come on, Sharnie, you're just overreacting. Like that's just your mind because of past stuff. And it was a thing.
I've literally known people that have woken up, women that have woken up in the middle of the night
and
had a weird feeling.
Oh my God.
Called their partner first thing in the morning who was somewhere else and found out that they were up to no good that night.
I feel like we just know deep down inside. Like
there's some wild intuition going on.
It's like other things, right? Have you ever heard where like, I don't know if this is even a thing, but people could be in a relationship that is so toxic and bad for them, just being around that person is making them constantly sick or something going on, like
totally.
a health problem that keeps arising. But as soon as that person is out of their life or thing or whatever it is work, then they're like, I don't know, immediately better. Is that a thing?
Personally, I absolutely believe it's a thing. And personally, I think, modern medicine and science is going to evolve to be able to explain that to us more, scientifically, I guess. But the basic version is that emotions are experienced in the body. They're chemicals released in the body. If they're not processed healthily, they will create dis-ease, which then leads to disease.
Yeah.
In the layman's kind of version. And if we know stress is linked to 99% of all illness.
Yeah.
The number of people that are stressed that might have digestion problems or health problems or tight jaws or necks or backs. It's like, yes, absolutely, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Your doctor won't link them directly, but they'll tell you to stress less.
Yeah.
They'll tell you to look after yourself, which is essentially the same thing. Okay, so thank you for sharing that, like long-term history of what we might say dysfunctional and perhaps even toxic relationships. Yeah. And then eating disorder, not good enough story. You got a big bag there.
Wild. I feel like every little thing. It's like some people, if they don't know me, they wouldn't realize, right? It's why I want to share about it, because like people could compare, you know what I mean? They could see a photo online or the life and be like, I'm never going to have X, Y, Z and compare. And you actually have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. Like no one does. So
for all of us. Yeah, totally. I love that. Okay. So all that stuff going on, reached out to us, felt right. You followed that sense or that intuition.
Yeah.
What came up? What was it like coming to do your inner work?
It was a wild ride. It was so wild. Like even seeing you today, I was like, because I hadn't seen you since we've done our inner work sessions, I was getting a little nervous of what it would be like, but it's fine, obviously now. But it was a wild ride, but it was good. It was all the feelings that I'd been holding down for my entire life, for my 29 years at that point. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so big feelings. And what were some of the kind of realizations that came up for you throughout that journey? Like, what did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about?
Just that I had been running abandonment my whole life. Like, and when you met me, I was stripped away to the absolute, I was definitely not myself. I wasn't the normal Sharnie. I don't think I even know didn't even know who Sharnie was. You know what I mean? Like, it had been that thrashed by all the shit I'd been through and all the relationships and I don't know, opinions of others and all the rest of it. It's crazy. I was very lost. I feel like I had hit rock bottom. I was also still in a different relationship. That was definitely not good for me. And I was just like doing my normal patterns and behaviors and I didn't realize I was about to run the exact same cycle, like the worst that I've ever done.
Tell me more.
Well, I don't know. I was at a point where I'm extremely close with my family. Like my mom's my best friend right now, living in Bali. Like we text every single day. When I was in Brisbane, same thing, every single day, calling her every single day. And I was like in a relationship that wasn't good for me and it was driving everybody close to me away. Like mum was hardly calling me. All my friends, I was about to lose all my friends as well because everybody didn't understand what I was doing. You know what I mean? Like,
because they could kind of see what was going on. Yes. You've been in all these toxic or dysfunctional relationships.
Who
now
are you
you're
giving
in
your
another
time?
one.
Yeah, it was, and I remember mum just saying, "I can't sleep at night. I just, I can't talk to you right now. I don't know what to talk about." Like she'd call and I'd be like, "So, what's the weather like in Rocky?" It was horrible, and like my family was my life. Like, it was crazy, and it's odd to say because like obviously we're so close now and it's normal, but it was pretty rough and. Work was also suffering. I remember I wasn't giving 100% to work and work in my business and the Sharnie Louise Fitness Girls is my absolute life. And the fact that was also suffering, even though people wouldn't know, but it definitely was. It wasn't at the level I wanted to be servicing these women. Yeah, it was a lot.
It appeared because I remember that you sharing that and I was like, oh yeah, wow, I definitely remember that. It appeared to be kind of all consuming. Yeah. And you would turn up.
What do you mean?
That relationship. Like it was, you were just like, you would turn up and you'd be like, Anthony, I know like I probably shouldn't be doing it. And I know it's bad, right? But I'm probably still going to go back and see him tonight. Yeah. I'm probably going to go back and do this thing. Yeah. And I remember as a coach, I remember sitting there for a few weeks going like, I wonder, if or when she's going to.
Do you know what the key moment was? Like we wouldn't talk about we didn't go to the sessions to talk about the relationship. It was little bits and pieces, sure. And then it was about other things, right? Because we started out and we'd go through, I don't think we'd even done the perfect day yet.
Yeah.
But we were doing about business and the person I wanted to be. Yes. And you were kind of like referring to, who was someone you look up to? And I was kind of like, Rihanna, she's a badass bitch and she doesn't let anybody mess with her. And then also you were like, what do you want to achieve in life? And it was all about business and what I want to do with Sharnie Louise Fitness, go online, work with women around the world, build this huge empire.
Yeah.
And I came in and you're just real casual and then you're like, cool. So just so you know, like everything you've just told me, also, I don't care who you date. It's not my business. I don't care. That's not why we're doing this. But, you told me you want to be this person, achieve all this stuff. You're not going to do that with that person in your life. And like, it was, I was kind of like, okay, cool. Well, now I know what I got to do. You know what I mean? I knew it, but to tell me that and just be like, you want all this stuff? I'm telling you, I can help you get it, but you can't with this.
Yeah. Wow. Like, okay. Wow. Interesting. I didn't know that was the thing.
I remember. I've never forgot that.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Wow.
How wild.
How good. The chick that you want to be doesn't allow this.
Yeah. But it wasn't even that. You're like, I don't like, not in a way, but you were just like brushing it. Like, I actually don't care.
Yeah, of course.
You date and what you choose to do. I don't care. It's your choice to do what you're going to do. But you told me that you want to be this person and you're not going to be it, obviously, with that person in your life.
You're not going to be her if you keep still doing this.
I was like, okay.
Damn it.
That's good.
You got me.
Well, it was the best thing ever. It was the best thing. Of course. It led me to where I am now, which is like, everything that's ever happened in my life had to happen the way it happened. And like, I'm not upset for anything I've ever been through and the things that happened in the early relationships and stuff like that, or, everything. And I am so grateful that I met all those people because if I hadn't, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Totally.
And I wouldn't be in Bali with the love of my life, about to marry him next year.
Yes.
I'm thankful for it. I'm super thankful.
So good. It's super interesting you share that, because you said at the start that, you have that intention that you want to help people that might be going through, toxic dysfunctional relationships or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And awesome to hear that, even when you were coming to see us and doing your inner work, like you were even starting another version of that. Yeah. How hard is it to get out of that? Like, if you think about those women that are in those situations, you think about when you were in that situation, like how difficult is it to actually do that? Because you make it sound easy, like, oh,
no,
you
I
just
know.
said this
I'm
thing
like, it's funny because, like, in hindsight, it's you said to me, "What's the worst thing that could happen, Sean? You're gonna feel the feeling," and that was the worst thing that could happen. You know what I mean? But you avoid the feeling. And when I thought about it, I was like, "It's true. It's water out of my eyes. You feel sad. You feel feelings. And you said the feeling of sadness or crying only lasts not even a minute, and then you get it out and you're on with the next thing you're doing. You're happy. Not that you're happy, but you know what I mean? Like, you've released the feelings. Absolutely. And I was like, that is so, I did look at it like, like a simple thing. Of course it wasn't. And none of the stuff that I did and went through has been simple, but I don't know. Like, it was fucking hard.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It was really hard. And it's important to clarify, like, I say that all the time, like the worst thing that's going to happen is you have a feeling, right? So like the thing that you're actually scared of, ending the relationship, taking the big leap in your job, whatever it might be, what people are actually scared of, we're all scared of, is not the thing, it's the emotion that we're going to have if we have to do the thing. Yeah. And so when you say that, the sadness might last, a minute or up to 90 seconds if felt. That doesn't mean it's gone.
Yeah.
That means it might come back 10 minutes later or 3 minutes later in the start. You might sit in sadness for days or weeks, right? But one thing I want to acknowledge you for, Sharnie, and just in that bit where you're sharing before is, you're willing to apply courage. And that's something I've seen in you time and time again. Like, yes, you can get yourself into, painful positions or difficult positions, but when you actually see an answer, you're willing to face it and do the scary thing. Which is amazing. And I really respect you for that. The second thing is that you're not a victim. You're sitting here saying, hey, I've been through all this, rough shit, lots of, really unpleasant things. And you've given us the G-rated version. Like,
I know.
And
I don't know if I should share it all. Maybe one day.
Sure. But my point is that like, there's big stuff behind that. Yeah. And you're not sitting here going, oh, poor me, I had all this, really horrible stuff go on. Like, you're going, hey, I'm actually really grateful because all of that stuff has helped me be the woman that can now help and empower other women. That's what we hear from people that are actually healed. Yeah. So respect. And I acknowledge you for that. That's amazing. Super, super cool. And so you mentioned before, like, our best day ever exercise. And I know that's something that was super powerful for you.
Yeah.
So you've ended this, the next kind of dysfunctional relationship.
Yeah.
Focusing on your business.
Yeah. And that was the thing. Like, I think, well, a lot of people think, right, you go through a breakup or, I don't know, a traumatic thing happens in your life and that, I shouldn't say it, but it's, are you really going to just sit around and mope and not train and move your body, not go to work and do the things that you should be doing? You know what I mean? Like, I could have sat in bed, ate shit, drank. I could have gone out, could have gone clubbing and doing all that stuff to get attention. But I was like, obviously the inner work journey helped me, but I was going to work. I was training, eating good food. I was, like, obviously cutting things that weren't good for me. And that also included friendships if it wasn't feeling good for me. You know what I mean? And I was like just working on myself. I would spend weekends journaling. Like in my apartment at Kangaroo Point, I remember sitting there and like, it's like across the road from bloody Howard Smith Wharves. I walk over the bridge and I could have been out, meeting people. And I remember sitting there journaling on a Saturday night. My housemate wasn't there at the moment. And like, I'd look across and there'd be people partying in the apartments next to me and I'd be sitting there with my tea journaling and I'm like, this is what I'm doing on a Saturday night. And I was like, in the end, happy to be doing it, which is just wild. But I think, I don't know, like, how do I say it? Like, without sounding like, okay, well, without sounding like, how do I word this? So without sounding like it's super fucking easy, you just have to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, don't sit around and mope and be sad about stuff. I don't know how to word it without, I don't know. Like
So
if you want something different, you have to do something different, and you have to be willing to sit and spend time alone and do the hard shit to get what you want. And a lot of people just will cry and make excuses and repeat the habits, or do the easy shit like going out and drinking or picking up a bad habit. And I did the hard shit. And so then I feel I absolutely deserve this life because I did that fucking hard shit to get there. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that probably no one else would be doing. Who's journaling on a Saturday night? Who's like, I don't know, leaving their gym sessions to the weekend because I was like, okay, I need something else to do that's not going to be like going on Tinder or dating apps or going out. I was refusing to do that. So I'd leave my gym sessions to the nights on the weekends so I'd have something to do. And I'd go to the gym and I'd go home and go to bed, wake up the next day, and the weekend would be over and I'd go back to work. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah.
Dude, that was fucking
Bit
epic.
of a rant. Yeah.
No, that was fucking epic. That was epic.
Yeah.
Well done.
I enjoyed it. It was
That
like
was fucking
in the end,
solid.
I really enjoyed it. Like I loved that. I was like finding pleasure out of making a tea and journaling or like meal prepping on the weekend. I don't know. I found like the positive in it.
So I actually remember a number of those fork in the road moments.
Yeah.
For you. And that's what we call them, like those fork in the road where I can do what I've always done and exactly like you said, get the results that I've always got. Right. And you know, that's that short-term pain relief. So I'll, you know, go meet someone, or I'll go out and drink, or I'll eat shit food, or I'll, you know, feel sorry for myself and feel like a powerless victim, and you have every right to, you know, like, and I get short-term pain relief plus long-term suffering.
Yeah.
Right. And I reinstate this cycle that this is my life now. And I do that for enough years, and that is my life. Right. What I observed you do and what I hear you say is, okay, I had those fork in the road moments. You know, what would normally, you know, people would do in that instance is go drink, eat, you know, go out, whatever it might be, you know, go dating or whatever it is. And even though I felt a pull to do that, I didn't.
It would have been the easy way out. You know what I mean? It would be the easy thing to do. Like,
yeah.
But again, it's right. It's the short-term satisfaction for long-term pain.
Yeah.
I did the short-term pain of like sitting in my own feelings and doing the work for long-term satisfaction. And it freaking works.
Yes.
It works. I don't know. Like I remember like going to these sessions and just being sad and literally crying every single night. I'd cry every single night, or I'd do my breath work. I'd be crying a lot, and I would be like, when is this sad feeling going to end? And everyone says it takes time. And that's the last thing you want to hear when you've gone through something traumatic, but it's true. Like it takes time, and like, don't wait for it. Just go through the motions until you're out the other end, honestly.
Yep. So that's the cleaning house bit, right? I've got to clean house. I've got to work through all of that stuff inside. Yeah. You know, and in your case, it was the journaling, it was the crying, it was the breath work, it was the working through stuff, it was the saying no to the easy fix and doing the hard yards. Amazing. Love that. I do remember, and something I really, really, you know, love and remember from working with you, Sharnie, is your best day ever experience.
Yeah.
Because you're very specific.
I know.
And for those who haven't, you know, done the program or familiar with what we do, we have a practice which we call our best day ever, which is basically a visualization of, you know, your best day ever. Yeah. And yours was pretty wild.
Yeah. It's a breath work, and you watch the video, and Anthony's like going through the breath work, and I sat there like fully into it, and then I'm like journaling about it, and then I had to present it.
Yeah.
The next week. I didn't know you were going to ask you. You're like, did you do it? I was like, yep. You're like, read it. I was like, no. You're like, read it. I was like, all of it? You're like, yep, all of it. I wish I still had it. Maybe I kept it because I kept all like my inner work journey books and stuff. Like So my perfect day ever. All right. Yeah. You'll probably remember maybe a little bit more, but I know like the key things were.
Tell me
It was a lot to do with meeting someone that had it was a lot to do with like the same morals as me, because that was a big thing, right? Because you could have the same interests and want to be doing gym and stuff together, but if you're not in alignment with the same morals, it was never going to work. So same morals and beliefs that I had about obviously certain things. And it was like
about relationship, you mean?
Yeah, just certain things that were right or wrong, or things that I didn't think was, I don't know.
Okay, or acceptable behavior. So these are my values, these are my principles, these are my morals.
That's it. Yes.
Totally.
Yeah, that's good. Good wording. And then what else was I going to say? Oh, it was having a loving, like I meet his family and his family loves and adores me, and I love and adore them, like authentically, because that was a big thing for me, that I wanted to actually have relationships with the family. And is very loving to his family, a family man, and just like honesty and trust. Like I trust this person with everything, and I have no doubts. And then it was like the nitty gritty stuff, like owns a gym. Don't even know why I said that. I think it was because owns a gym. I could work online and have like a gym community. It would be so awesome. So here's
the thing, because I actually remember that, and I remember saying to you, well, why don't you want to own a gym?
Yes.
Like, you want to open your own facility.
You said, no. You said, why don't you both own the gym? I was like, no, he owns it. I don't want to own it.
I
You're
remember
like,
that.
okay, that's so weird. And I was like, that's what I want.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you're like,
crazy.
no, he owns the gym. I don't want to
You
own
know
it.
why?
I wanna-
Because I'm very big on like having my own thing. I want my own thing. I love the Sharnie Louise Fitness thing that I've built up,
Yes,
and I've got my
yes.
own
Your
thing,
own
and
movement.
that's yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a gym thing, and then it was we have a cook. I was like, actually no, it was a Gold Coast. It was a Miami beach house.
I remember.
Gold Coast beach house.
It was a
beachfront,
Queenslander,
and-
wasn't it?
Yeah, something. I've just got this house that I see in Miami Beach, and so funny because Dave
Yep.
absolutely loves the Gold Coast. Like our goal is to have a place in Gold Coast, a place in Bali, and go between the two, Airbnb when we're not there, sort of thing, so we can live in both and
Amazing.
all the rest of it. And then it was having a maid and a chef.
Mhm. I remember.
And I was like, well, I don't like cooking and I don't want to clean. And it's so odd because now I have that. Don't call it a maid, but here's a housekeeper and he comes 6 days a week. And chef, like we've obviously got the Wanderlust food that we order, and that's the culture of Bali. You don't really cook at home. You just order food, which is amazing, clean, beautiful food. So, yeah.
So before we give too much away, you've basically come up with this visualization, which is a dream list for your life. And if I speak really frankly, it seemed quite lofty at the time. I mean, you're working really hard and you're always a high achiever.
Yeah.
But it was like, wow, that's very specific.
Yeah.
And, you know, to get your dream place with your maid and your chef and, you know,
how
all
crazy.
of that.
You're probably just like, oh, great.
Well, no, it wasn't like, oh, great. Like I believe
yeah.
anything's possible. And
Yeah.
I truly believe what we visualize is what we're meant to do. But I was like, yeah, okay, like respect. And there's a gap between where you are now and who that chick is.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
there was a gap. Okay. And so what did you then have to begin doing? Because what I'm hearing you say previously was you living your life out of alignment, you know, in relationships, in relation to your health, you know, in relation to your own body, in relation to all of that, right? And what we teach is how do people align so they can have their dreams, right? Align themselves with their dreams. You've now visualized your best day ever, and you know, I don't know whether you believed or not it was going to be real.
Yeah.
But what did you?
I believe the process.
Okay.
I don't believe the process.
So what did you have to start doing?
So you said to me, okay, I'm pretty sure you said this. Okay, be that person. I was like, what? Like, because it wasn't just the things, it was the qualities of this person.
Correct.
Hardworking. That was the other thing. Hardworking, driven, all this stuff. And you're like, be that person. I was like, what? So well, if you're going to attract that, you have to become that person. You know what I mean? Like you want to be leveling up in that way as well.
Yes.
I was like, okay. Well, so then I just, and it was everything, right? It was.
Yes. All areas of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I was kind of like, through all the breath work and inner work stuff that we did together, I then obviously believed that the universe had a plan for me, even though I was like not on dating apps, wasn't open to dating men at all. Like I was like, I'm not in a position to date. I don't even want to go on dates. I was focusing on myself. And in my mind, I knew that person that I was supposed to be with was out there. I was like, had full belief in it and would journal about it and all the rest of it. And then I just started living in alignment with that, not ever doing anything that wasn't in alignment with me, i.e. being on dating apps, going out drinking, being around people that weren't for me, or, you know, like taking on too much, saying yes when I meant no. So like I kind of also, some friend groups got annoyed at me because like I would just, if I didn't want to do something, I'd say, no, thank you, I'm not coming. And it would be like events, going out, drinking, just lots of things. And if I wasn't, I don't know, you could call it a bit selfish because I wasn't doing anything that I didn't want to do for the first time in my life.
Amazing. And I want to touch on that. I want you to keep going, but I want to touch on that because that's super powerful, right? And really important for listeners, because if we go back a step, you were self-abandoning in relationships. You didn't have boundaries. You weren't speaking up. You were allowing things which weren't okay for many, many years. And it, you know, caused you to turn up to me literally crying every week for 6 months. Yeah. Or a few months.
It was. Yeah, it was.
Right.
Yeah. I would come in and be like, you're like, you know, we'd start the sessions. I'd never forget it. What's up, Sean? What's been going on? Not much. Thinking in my head, I've got nothing to talk about. And then we'd just dive so deep into something and I'd be in tears and I'd be like, wow, I didn't even expect that to come out. It's funny. Anyways.
Totally. Why do I always cry on this couch?
I do. I'm like, damn.
But you had been self-abandoning, and like you said, and you just lose a part of yourself over and over and over again. And we see a lot online about boundaries, and you're talking about, you know, being selfish in relationships or friendships or, you know, in your life in that period. And I think it's important to share with people that is okay for a period. Yeah, because to rebuild that self-esteem, self-worth, sense of self,
Yeah.
we need to, like you said it really well, I need to start using yes and no in the right places. I'm
Yeah.
no longer going to say yes when I actually mean no. And I remember having those conversations with you, like they want me to go to this thing, or I've been invited to that. And, I hear it so much. I bet they're a really good friend, and it's I don't know, their party or their birthday or their whatever it might be. And yes, it is important to be a good friend, and particularly if I'm doing the work to rebuild myself, it's actually most important that I'm true to me.
Absolutely.
And what we'll find long term, and what I've observed in you, Shine, is that starts to soften. You build the self-esteem, you rebuild the self, and it's like, okay, now I can be a good friend for people.
That's so true when you look at it like that, isn't it? Because it was almost like a bow and arrow, right? You have to pull back to go forwards again. Like that's what I did. I pulled back in so much.
Love that.
Spent the most amount of time that I ever have in my life by myself, like in my own thoughts, just doing things by myself, going to beach trips by myself, all sorts of things. Like, and I was having so much joy in it. It wasn't like embarrassing to be in these places by myself. Like it was good. Yeah.
And so that's the work, right? And that's the getting into alignment and being the woman that actually can live that best day ever.
Yeah.
So hardworking, driven, aligned. I remember you making choices and making decisions in your business to go, okay, how do I, be more of this chick that I want to be? I want to go online. I want to do these things, right? And
that was also hard, wasn't it, right? Because it wasn't just like, Dave came into my life and I moved to Bali. There was still so much difficult stuff that I had to do to get there, and difficult
100%.
Decisions and conversations that I had to have with long-term clients that I'd trained for 3 to 4 years that were, it was a journey.
Totally. And so what happened as you did that? You're cleaning up. You've done all. You clean house. You're starting to get into alignment. Then what? What's next?
So, Dave. Okay, cool. So I didn't think it's so funny, right? Because I didn't think it was I don't know. I don't think my inner work stuff was about a guy. I don't know, or maybe it was. You know what I mean? Like, but it ended up being the core root of a lot of things, right? Anyway, so then I just been living my life and I get a message pop up on Instagram and it's like not a flame emoji. It's not like want to go out, none of that shit. Because if it was a flame emoji, I'd be like, fuck off.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't even write back. And it was, hey, I like your vibe. That was literally it. And I was like, well, I've been working on my vibe. No, I didn't. I think I just was like, I looked at his page and I was like, I don't think I'm going to write back to this guy. Was in the gym scene and I swore that I, was like, maybe I should stay away from gym boys, and had tattoos and like the way, if you see Dave, you know what I mean? You could completely judge straight away. And I'm so glad I didn't judge a book by its cover.
Sure.
And so then I was like, we wrote back and we talked for literally 3 months. Again, it wasn't like straight away just a fairy tale, you know what I mean? Like I had to still work through all the stuff that was coming up for me on multiple occasions. And it was a journey within itself as well.
What was coming up for you?
Always like, I don't know, like doubts and fears and is this person lying? Is he really this nice? I hadn't met him at this stage. So like we're talking and like we do voice messages. We hadn't even called on the phone and he was like such a lovely person and it was a really nice guy, and I'd met lovely guys before and nice people, and it ended up, lots of lies and stuff mixed in between. So it was almost a feeling of like, this is too good to be true. So I did keep my guard up because I didn't want to just let somebody in because I'd been working so hard on myself. So it took a while. It took a while, but he was like, it was never, I don't know. We just talked as friends for a long while and got to know each other like really, really well.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then what?
And then he is so funny. He kept saying to me, I'm going to fly to Brisbane. I'm going to meet you and take you out. And I just thought, okay, thinking I'm never going to.
Because he's living in Bali at this stage.
Yeah, he lives in Bali. Yeah. And so that was also another thing. It was a protection, right? I didn't actually have to see this person ever. Yeah. I was like, I'm never going to meet this person. I didn't know anything else other than I was drawn to keep talking to him. I loved talking to him. It was like my favorite part of the day. I'd listen to his voice messages, me giggling to Eugenie, my housemate at the time, being like, so funny. Like it was good. And then he kept saying, I'm going to come and meet you in Brisbane. And I was like, oh my gosh. And there'd be a few times where like flights didn't align. Like he'd go from Bali to America to visit his family and think he was going to come back through Brisbane. It just didn't work out with work. Yep. Maybe 2 or 3 times he said, I'm going to come, and didn't. And then I was like, ooh. I was like, I'd get my hopes up and then he wouldn't come. And I was like, oh, maybe, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if this guy's for real. And then on like the 3rd or 4th time, I woke up to a message. I'm in Adelaide. He's like, I'm going to be in Brisbane this afternoon. And I was like, oh my God. I was like running around Eugenie. Oh my gosh, he's coming. And then we had planned to like meet up and go to Howard Smith Wharves, and we had like champagne and oysters. And so that was like huge to meet him for the first time. I was so nervous. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so you met the guy.
Yeah.
And what's life like now?
Amazing. So good. It's, I feel like, I don't know if people watch on social media, and I've never had more people say to me, I've never seen you so happy in your life as I do now, Shan. Like, you look truly so happy. And it's true. You know what I mean? This is like actually not I don't know. It's like,
actually real.
It's real. Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
And he's had the same thing. Like he would say to me, oh my gosh, I've got a message from a high school friend. I haven't spoken to them in years. And they said, Dave, I've never seen you like look so calm and just happy in life. Like, everybody told us that.
Okay, I think what's really, really important here, this isn't just a story of, she met the guy, met the love of her life, now it's happily ever after, right? Because the fact is, the woman you were prior to, doing the work on yourself, facing yourself, would not have, been able or ended up into a long-term relationship, with Dave.
Yeah.
Right? The woman you were was going to keep doing the stuff that you weren't doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So super important, because it can sound a bit like, I've met this great guy now, I've got this great life. And it's like,
well, I want to talk about that. It wasn't easy. You know what I mean? Like, everything that I'd learned through the inner work journey, I still had to use, like the tools in my toolbox. I was sharpening them like I've never sharpened before.
Yeah.
To be a better person and to I don't know, like to not repeat the same patterns.
100%.
And before I'd even moved to Bali, and we were like seeing each other but not official or anything, if that's what you want to call it. There'd be times when I'd message you, remember? There would be times where I was messaging you, and it was like a moment where you're like, all you have to do is ask a question, Shan. Like, if you want something with him and he's not willing to give it, all you need to do is like ask, and not just like ask what it, just have the hard conversations. Totally. And I think a lot of women, so many women, especially young women, are probably like, like, I don't know, seeing guys and they want more, but they're too scared to ever ask, or just to ever like, how do you say, just have the conversation. You know what I mean? Like, and I was just like very set in my, I don't know, learnings of everything I'd just been working on in myself, that I was like, well, I want something, and if this person is not ready to give me what I want, then I'm happily going to find someone who is, but I'm happy just to close that chapter. I'm not just going to, repeat the same things.
Love that.
Yeah.
And what that tells me, like just sitting here observing it, chick you used to be would allow all this stuff, not have the conversation, not speak up, ignore things, push them down, and, feel really awful as a result. This chick over here actually draws on that courage because she now loves herself enough and values herself enough to go, know what?
Absolutely.
If I can't have what I want, I'm willing to move on.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, and I see this over and over again, and you're a perfect example, is often when, what I would call adult women then, because you're not a little girl anymore.
Yeah.
Right? That's like an adult woman. That's what she does.
Yeah.
When she calls that man into an adult relationship and says, hey, dude, this is what I'm here for. Like, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Often then that's when they'll get that, that really strong masculine lead go, hey, yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Right? And so you both step up and you both level up.
Yeah.
Right? Amazing.
But it's funny, like, and he wasn't doing anything wrong. Like, he was literally just being the absolute kindest, nicest person he is. And I just was, I don't know.
And you both had to take a leap.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And you both pretty big deal, but even if, I look at it from his perspective, and I don't know his perspective, but if I made it up,
like welcoming a random girl to my life.
Like she's going to move country and come over here. Like that's pretty, I imagine that'd be pretty scary, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And, how's she going to fit in what I'm going to do? And I'm responsible for this, or am I not? And how's that going to work?
Yeah,
and like,
big steps.
that takes a lot, so respect to Dave too, but
it didn't happen like slowly. Like, it kind of happened really fast, you know what I mean? But I think maybe I was used to having from 0 to 100, which is super, super toxic and not normal, that for it to happen slowly, and we enjoy dates and we enjoy each other's company. I wasn't used to that. So I was like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, it was odd. It was so crazy. I want to also share, remember how, so we've been dating back and forth. Dave had come to Brisbane actually, no, I lied. David had come to Brisbane once and then he'd flown home and then we just kept talking, right? And my next trip there was going to be maybe a month later because I was visiting Bali. So I was like, cool, that's when I'm going to see you again. And then I went on $1 Million Island, a TV show. So another crazy thing with like, you know, trusting the universe and like being open to, you know, believing the universe is going to bring you things that are coming your way. I got a message on Instagram from a random account, which looked fake, that said, we would love to cast you in $1 Million Island. Yeah. And then I'd been to a psychic maybe like a year later. My friend bought me that for like a little gift for me when I was going through some hard stuff. And he said to me, he's sitting there and doing like his, you know, gypsy stuff, not gypsy stuff, you know what I mean? He's like, I'm seeing lights and I'm seeing a TV show. And I was like, what? He's like, I don't know why. Don't ask me why, but this is how he spoke. Yeah. Don't know why, but if you're asked on a TV show, you have to. I was like, okay. And then I got this message on my Instagram and you'd never write back to spam. And I was like, okay, sure. And I wrote back and legit, I went on a TV show.
You went on a TV show, I remember.
Crazy. Oh my God. But it's like, okay, so going back to the Dave thing, I said to him, I'm actually not coming to Bali, and I also don't know when I'm going to see you next, so I'm not sure. And I was about to run away because I was a bit scared of like where things were going and not ready to be vulnerable or give myself. So I was like, I don't know if we should keep talking and all the rest of it. And he was a little bit upset about it. And I was meant to go on a TV show at this point. Then I got an email, the TV show got cancelled and moved till Jan next year. And then I was kind of like, well, maybe I'm just going to go to Bali. And I booked, it was like, I found out that
it was last minute too. You were going and then it was like cancelled. Yeah.
And so I had, and then it got cancelled and I found out on the Wednesday, let's say. On Saturday, I lay by my pool in Brisbane. I'm having a weekend to myself, spending time by myself. And I booked my flights. I was like, screw it, I'm going to go. And then I took a few weeks off work, which I never took time off work. And it was the first time I had that amount of time off and went over there. And I remember messaging Dave because we've been talking. And I said, oh, is it okay if I come to Wanderlust? He's like, of course it is. And like, I didn't know what it would be like. I was really nervous. First time I'd traveled by myself since I was like, I did a Kentucky tour once, but that's not when you're traveling on your own. I was like truly just by myself on this trip. Came to Wanderlust and he was so welcoming. He's like showed me around and then he was really nice and like took me to get my cash exchanged because I had no idea what to do in Bali or in a different country. So he was like helping me out a lot. It was nice. Yeah. And then that's when I was messaging you about some stuff. Yeah. Wild.
Totally. So the work continues. Okay, and so you've come over to Bali, you've taken the big leap, the show was postponed.
Yeah.
Things seem awesome. How does that tie into the best day ever? Like how's that kind of played out now? A little bit further down the track.
Well, now I live in Bali. Yes. And it actually happened because I asked him on a date. Like I was the one who was like, should we go on a date when I was in Bali visiting? And then it kicked off from then, back and forth. Went on the TV show. That was another big moment. I need to talk about that because if I didn't go on that TV show and if it wasn't postponed, I wouldn't have moved to Bali and it wouldn't be, Dave and I probably wouldn't have been together because going around that TV show, I had 4 weeks off work and I got kicked off the island after 2 weeks. And then Dave's like, well, if you get kicked off early, come to Bali, like you can stay with me. And like I stayed and it was as if we had been like living together and we experienced what 2 weeks together would be like. And from then on, it was like, wow, we have to make this work. I went back to Brisbane and then I started planning it all and then finally moved to Bali in June 2023.
Wow. So a year and a bit ago, you said if the TV show hadn't been cancelled, then it probably wouldn't have panned out because I wouldn't have had the opportunity and you know
like everything aligned how it was supposed to.
What's that? What do you believe that is?
The universe. Well, the universe, like it's the exact way things were supposed to be for me. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like the universe has always had a path for me.
100%.
And if one thing had been different in my whole entire life, you know what I mean? All the things, I wouldn't be where I am right now. 100%. I truly believe that.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And I've seen you develop and build that kind of belief and that faith that you have in, you know, what you call the universe. And I love it. And I say it all the time. And by far our most successful clients, like I think we're pretty good at what we do. I think we got a pretty good program. And I absolutely, first thing I have to admit is the people that get the best results are the ones that actually connect with, you know, something they believe in, whether it be the universe or anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It actually doesn't matter what it is. You could literally make it up. But there's some sort of benevolent force that has your back and wants you to win and wants you to live your best day ever. If you can have faith in that, that's when I get to, as a coach, see real magic happen, you know, and again, you can see that in your own life. Like there's things orchestrated and come together in ways that you couldn't have orchestrated. You couldn't have made happen. No way. You know, like, we could sit there planning for weeks and there's no way we could pull that off.
Crazy.
Right? Super amazing, Sean. Super amazing. So just going through my head there, checking things off as far as the best day ever, you got the guy, right? Does he have the family, the good family that you like?
Yeah, like insane. His mother, before I'd even met her, was texting me, telling me that she loves me so much. And I got to meet her. It was last year. I moved to Bali in June, met them in July because we went to America. And like for the day that I met her, arms wide open, she's like, I love you, Sharnie. I knew I was going to love you so much. They are the kindest people I've ever met. His mum has never spoken a negative word in her life. Like they're just such a beautiful, loving family. And then I obviously realized why Dave is the way he is, because his parents and obviously his entire family is amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you have the same morals?
Absolutely. Yes, we do.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Does he own a gym?
Yes, he does. The biggest gym in Bali. It's funny though, because I say that. I know it might have sounded bad, like I'm after someone with a big gym, but it wasn't the gym. It was the drive and like the
Dude, it had nothing to do with the gym. I can tell everyone. It had nothing to do with the gym.
You know, the personality, like I'm so hardworking and I want to do so much with like business and all the rest of it. And he's exactly the same. Like
You're aligned.
It's really nice to have somebody that's like so driven and
Yeah, 100%. It's got nothing to do with the gym.
Yeah.
That was on the list, right?
Yeah, I know, crazy.
So he's got the gym. Now you don't own the gym, but you're doing your own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was community vibes, like because I did the best day ever. Well, what was it? My best day ever, and like perfect guy essentially is what you wanted me to write down.
Yes.
And then I started doing like my morning and evening journalings. And my morning journalings, even though it was so repetitive, it was like you told us to start with your perfect day and try and visualize it. And I have journals that I look back and I even showed Dave. Yeah. I guess I didn't want to show him too early on because I was like, he would think I'm very like cuckoo.
Yeah.
And it was like waking up and was like actually waking up with kids and it's laughter and all the rest of it, which I'm sure will happen next year.
Yeah.
We wake up and we go for a morning beach walk with coffee in our hands and like the sand in our feet. We go for our morning walks every morning. He makes me coffee every morning. That's like his thing. He brings it out to me. He's like so proud. Yeah. And then I wrote stuff like, we go to gym together, we train, community vibes. I go home, I do my online work, he does his work, and then we, see each other of an afternoon and we've got such like great connection and laughter and it's like beautiful deep chats, and that's exactly what we have. It's just insane.
So good. Like so good.
Crazy.
Like almost word for word. Yeah.
I know. It's wild. It's so crazy.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. I'm really, really happy for you and really proud to play a small part in that.
Thank you.
That's super cool. So one thing you did mention beforehand though is you're like, before we started recording was like, I want people to understand that yes, my life is amazing and yes, I live a dream life and there's still stuff, that goes on. Like, what do you mean by that?
So the big traumatic thing that happened in my life happened at a gym that we both worked at.
Yeah.
So like there are moments where it does come up, and that's what I want people to know is like, yes, I have met like the most perfect guy ever and I have this dream life that I've always dreamed of, but there are days where my insecurities come up and my fears and doubts come up. But I just, things could happen at a gym where I could see something and it triggers it. And then I just feel sick in my stomach. And then sometimes I know I just have to go home for that day. I have to like kind of, work through it or like journal about it. Sometimes I'll, have chats to Dave about it and he's so understanding about it. But then I, sometimes I get angry at myself in the moment it happens thinking, I've done all this work that shouldn't come up anymore. You know what I mean? And I get angry at myself, but I just need to be very kind to myself because it was only 3 years ago where all this stuff went down and I'm still like, I am healed, but there's also like more work to be done as there is always.
100%.
And it's not just like do my inner work course and that's over. I'm still using the skills that I've learned and the practices and, doing more and more as much as I can.
Yeah. And I love that you share that. Like I'm 15 plus years down the track now, and I still have to call on that stuff myself, and we all still have insecurities and we all still have doubts.
Yeah.
And what's super important is that, yes, you do live your dream life, and, I live my version of mine.
Yeah.
Still go, holy shit, like, I can't believe, like, I'm sure you do, like, is this for real? Like,
every morning I wake up, I'm like, this is just what?
Is this for real? Yeah. And you're still a human being.
Yeah.
And so you still have the full spectrum of emotions. It's just that you're no longer repeating patterns which are unhealthy, leading you to more harmful, unpleasant places. You're gradually creating a positive spiral, which is things are actually getting better. And less painful, and you heal more of that stuff, which then helps you heal the next person. Right?
Definitely.
So tell me about that. I know you've got like a really engaged community. You've got, heaps of really loyal followers. And you do have a movement, with the Sharnie Louise Fitness stuff. Like, tell me about, what would a woman signing up expect to, experience as part of you and your.
Yeah. Well, I feel it's just so much more than just training and nutrition. You know what I mean? Like, I genuinely care. I'm genuinely invested in every woman's life or journey rather that I am part of, because I feel grateful that I can have, like you, for me, you're like, I'm grateful to have that impact on your life. That's how I feel to my clients. Like, I'm grateful to be able to share through everything I've ever been through, all the training, nutrition, food, relationships, everything. You know what I mean? Like, just share some insight, because it's just so much more than training and nutrition.
Totally.
It's not just like, here's your plan. Like, I have online coaches that are friends, and they're like, you do too much, Sharm. You're never going to be able to sustain that. You do too much. I Zoom call with all my clients. Like, I have calls with them because I take time to like actually get to know them. I know pretty much like, more than just like the person's name on a training app. Like, I actually know stuff about these people and what goes on. And I feel like that's what makes a difference, because it's not like transactional. It's, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I
think you explained it perfectly. It's just you genuinely care.
Yeah.
And I've seen that in, people that have worked with you and people that I see in your community, like they love you.
Yeah.
Because, you are genuinely helping change their lives with that care.
Yeah.
Right. And to your point, like, I've had many people tell me how Sharnie's amazing. Oh my God, she's amazing. Oh, I can't believe you're gonna go on a Wanderlust and gonna help. That's amazing. That's gonna be so good.
So cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, people saying that.
Oh, that's nice.
Never once has anyone said to me, oh, she does a really good training plan and nutrition program.
Yeah.
Right? Never once.
Yeah.
Right? It's all about the inner transformation and then the external transformation that I experience as a result of working with you. And I absolutely love that.
Yeah, that's so awesome. It's funny, right? Because whenever clients sign up with me, I feel grateful. I'm like, I feel grateful that you've resonated with me and chosen me to guide you and be your coach. Like, I do feel, I'm like, wow, like, I feel like stoked. I feel so happy. I feel grateful. That's what, and I actually do. Because there's so many online coaches, there's so many personal trainers, but out of everybody, they wanted to work with me. And that makes me feel like,
so
very
good.
blessed.
So good. So good. So, Sharnie, you talked about having this long history of toxic and dysfunctional relationships, yeah? What does that actually mean?
So, many of my relationships have been like, not, well, how do I say it? I don't want to talk it down, but I don't want to scare people that are in my life that think that I don't know. Some of majority of the relationships that I have been in have been emotional abuse, sometimes physical abuse, and there's been moments where I have been scared for my life.
Yeah, wow.
And then it's like, you obviously get out of those situations, and then other things come up that bring it up. Might be literally out in a club and someone's yelling because they're about to fight, and you have those like panic attack moments.
Yeah, like trauma responses.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Wow, huge. Cool. Thank you for sharing. So, Sharnie, if people go to your page, they're going to see a lot of fitness stuff, training, nutrition, a wellness lifestyle.
Yeah.
But how do you really help women? Because like I said, no one's ever come to me, and I've had many people tell me how amazing you are and how inspirational you are, but no one's ever said, oh, she wrote a really great meal plan, although I know you do, because my partner's actually followed your meal plans and got great results.
Yeah.
How do you actually truly help women now?
So I feel like it's a lot more than training and nutrition. That's one part of it. And because of my past with everything I've been through, you know, I've lived such an unbalanced lifestyle. So I know both ends of the scale. And my approach is like super balanced. You know what I mean? Like I'm never going to force somebody to, I don't know, follow something if they don't want. Or I understand that in life we need balance. We need to go out and enjoy ourselves. So I guess that's a big thing. I base it on like my experiences and what I think. I don't know. It's like, yeah, if you have a balanced approach, you can 100% follow it long term. Aside from that, I feel like it's more than just training and nutrition because it's about who you become on the journey. So if you're loving the skin you're in, you're confident, you have so much more self-worth, you're going to make better decisions, you're going to attract better people in your life, you're going to maybe leave things that aren't good for you. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not just training and nutrition, it's the entire journey. And that's, I guess I'm a living example of that because it's not just the training and nutrition, you know what I mean? You have to do everything and be in total alignment, but the training and nutrition helps a lot to get you into alignment, right? To make better decisions, to be in a better mindset. And yeah, I guess just attract everything that you want or that particular client wants.
Love it. So similar to your own journey is how you're going to be the woman who loves the skin that she's in.
Yeah.
Right?
And how does that person show up every day? Like how does the best version of you show up every day?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
In all areas.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's what I say. Like whenever I'm like, okay, let's set some goals for the next 6-week program block. Let's not just talk about training and nutrition. Personal, I want career, I want everything. Like let's dive right in because, you know, you could be in a job that's okay, you might be enjoying it. Then you start doing training and nutrition and you get confidence to ask your boss for the pay rise or leave that job and get another one. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a ripple effect. I say that, right? It's a huge ripple effect on all areas of your life. And it starts with focusing on yourself, which is a lot of what you're putting in your body and how you're spending your time,
100%.
Movement, all the rest of it. And also how you're spending your time outside of the gym, what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, are you going out drinking every weekend and then the next day you're waking up feeling like crap? You've got a 2-day hangover. Come Monday, Tuesday, you're not training. You know, you're back into those shitty habits. It's like, it's a lot to do with outside of the gym as well.
I love it. So it's honoring yourself ultimately.
Yeah.
So good. What advice would you have for the younger Shan that didn't think she was lovable? So hang on, you got an answer?
Okay. No, I don't. I haven't done that one. I don't know what I would say. I have stuff, but I don't, right? Because like if it's my younger self and if I hadn't gone through all that stuff, I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? I feel like I couldn't just like as a teenager flick the switch and know everything that I do now and have all the life experiences that I do now. So I would kind of tell her to strap in and
suck it up. You're going to have
strap in. No, like what's meant for you will always find its way. So don't ever think that a loss or a breakup or a loss of a job or a career change is ever going to, I don't know, be a negative thing. Like try and look at it in a positive way, knowing that that had to happen. That's awesome. Cool. Thank you. Goodbye. On to the next thing. What's actually meant for me, the path that's I'm supposed to be on.
Something you're currently working on in your inner work?
Probably the gym stuff, yeah. Not that it happens daily, but I just want to make sure that I'm like whole and good. You know what it is though? It's actually becoming the best version of me so that when I have babies and you know what I mean? I'm like the best example for them. You know, not that I don't have issues as such, but more so like I'm just going to be the best guide or role model for them. You know what I mean? I want to not tell them what to do in life, but I want to like push them in the right direction. You know what I mean?
Lead by example and model who you want to be. Walk your talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
So good. And you already do that for others in your life. So many.
Yeah.
Yeah. Respect. Sharnie Louise, absolute pleasure. Thank you for sharing, being so vulnerable and authentic. How can people find you?
On Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah. So Sharnie_Louise_ or Sharnie Louise _fitness.
Absolutely. So, guys, anyone watching this, you'll obviously see the tags below. Go and give her a follow. Go reach out. I can 100% vouch for her programs. Any women who want what she has or what she shared about today, this is your sign from the universe to go and follow that golden thread.
Thank you. Can I also say something too?
Yes,
Can we say it at the end? I'll look at the camera, but I'll actually look at you. Well, anybody that's actually considering doing an inner work journey, just stop waiting. You know what I mean? Like if it's I don't know, like whatever excuse you have, do you actually want to live your best life is my thing. Like if you're watching this and you're like, oh, I'm never going to have that. You know what I mean? You actually can if you just do the work. And the way that it happened for me is by doing the inner work course and working with you. Like it changed my life. It truly did. So I can't thank you enough because I just wouldn't have got through that shit. I'm going to cry. Like it was, I think about it. If I didn't do it and if I didn't call you, like I don't know where I would be or what I'd be doing, but I would be not where I am now. So thank you. Honestly. You so changed my life.
Oh, Shan, you're
I didn't want to cry, but I fucking did in the end. Oh, thank you.
You're so welcome. And I didn't even ask for that.
No, I know, but it's true. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're in the same, like you do what you do because you want to help people.
Totally.
You know, like, and you obviously get joy out of helping people. So sure, you can be selfish in that way. Just like me, like I do what I do because I want to help women and you're actually passionate about it. Otherwise, why would you be putting so much time and effort into this? You know what I mean? Like you actually
100%.
care.
Yeah, 100%. I do.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate. I really appreciate that.
Thanks.
Amazing. Well done.